You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Palace of Mega Pencils. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Hello and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host, Stephen White. With me, as always, is my co-host, Lacey Finley.
Oh, well, happy Monday. How was that?
I'm good. You know what I hate? I hate
a lot of things.
A lot of things. I don't like, I know hate's a strong word. People don't like saying hate.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's too strong a word. We shouldn't hate or whatever. It's like, I know I shouldn't,
but sometimes it's there.
You invoke an emotion in me.
So I despise car repair.
Oh, yeah.
Because look, I'm not the most, I don't want to say I'm mechanically challenged. I'm not. I feel like I do pretty good around a car. I can do some pretty basic stuff. But they're always...
Get your maintenance done.
Yeah. And if I can do it, I would prefer to do it versus dealing with trying to figure it out, maybe ruining something, you know, and it happens. So there are times I will go to a mechanic if I don't feel that I'm up to par.
Sure.
I feel like changing oil in a car, easy.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, I can do that.
I used to do that myself, change my own oil.
Yeah.
And spark plugs. I used to do my own little tune-ups.
Yeah.
No longer had a garage or anything anymore I could do it in. So.
But still, you know how to do it. It's pretty basic stuff, easy. You know, you can do it yourself.
Saved me money.
So
in the past.
I used to not be able to do brake pads, and I learned how to do brake pads. It can be easy. Okay, and it can also be incredibly frustrating. My situation this past week was frustrating, or this past weekend.
Rusted.
Well, no, what happened is I had taken my vehicle to a repair shop because I noticed it was leaking power steering fluid. And I found the leak, and I thought, okay, well, I tried seeing if there was a way I could, fix it. And then I noticed it was just this big long hose that went from the, dispensary, wherever you put it in at. Let's just call it that. It sounded good. The hose runs from that down into the engine.
Did we mention we're not that big on repairs? There we go. No.
I know car. I know not word for car part.
Right. Show me a picture.
Yeah.
Yes, I know that thing.
This
it goes
thing.
Through. I'm sorry.
Round cylinder.
From the dispensary. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Round cylinder with fill line. Anyway.
Yes.
The hose goes out from that, over the engine, down into the engine, and then back over and across. Like a very long, windy hose. And I looked at it. I followed it to kind of get an idea. And my dad's like, come on, we could probably change that. Let's just go buy it. And I'm like, It's like, we just struggled to change some brakes on a car. I don't want to do this. And this, granted, they were drum brakes on my wife's car. I'd never done that before, so I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Apparently, I even bought the wrong brakes. So,
oh, no.
Yeah, that was a problem. Anyway, so I looked at that. I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. It would have been nice, but I can't do it. So I let the repair shop do that. They got that fixed. Now, as it was sitting there, they were like, hey, we happen to notice your front brakes could probably use a change. Do you want us to take care of that? And I was like, nah, I'll do it. I appreciate it, but I'll do it because I know that's more labor that I have to pay for. And if I can get a deal on the brakes, I'm going to get a deal on the brakes. Not try to be cheap, but I'm going to...
Well, I mean, we're in 2022. Everything's ridiculously expensive right now.
Yeah.
So I think we can forgive that for a moment.
Yeah, any way to save $1. I've been
Right.
feel like I've been buying car repair stuff a lot lately, but I get coupons from the Advanced Auto. They gave me a coupon. So I
There you go.
got like $5 off, $10 off. I'll save $10.
Flip over that receipt
Yep,
and be like, here's my extra.
If I can save $10, I'm going to save $10. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
So
Yeah.
I got the brakes. I got the rotors, which that's the expensive part.
Yeah.
Freaking rotors, man.
It's been a long time since I shopped for auto parts.
$90 or something like that. I mean, come on, you know?
Dude, the whole tune-up used to cost me $77. That should tell you how long it's been since I've had a garage a bunch. That was the oil change too.
Yeah. So
When you could get it done at Walmart for $11, remember that?
Yeah.
$10 for the oil, $1 for the labor. Remember that? Anyway, sorry.
yeah, how times have changed.
Right?
About $100 to go get it changed now. Just your oil.
Yeah, just the oil.
Because I upsell you. Anyway, we're getting off topic. So I go to replace the brakes, right, and the rotors. And I said to myself, this will be easy. You know, I've done it before. I've changed the back ones. I can change the front ones. Now, I don't know what changed because when I did the back ones, this piece just kind of fell backwards, you know, just kind of came right off. And I could get to the brakes, take them off, put them back on, boom, bang, boom. Done. Easy.
Yeah?
This, it didn't do that. I had to take the entire piece off where the brake pads sit. And then trying to get the rotor off. You know, obviously, you got to bang, kind of knock it loose or whatever. And I took a sledgehammer, literal, to kind of just knock it.
I'd be scared to drive around now with my brakes having took a sledgehammer to it.
It was just to the rotor. But I knocked it loose, got it off. But I struggled so hard with this one. So, for example, and I should have known. I don't know. My brain wasn't working that day. I broke one loose, got it loose, then the bottom one. And I was sitting there fighting, struggling, screaming. Like, I'm so angry.
Right.
And then when we finally I said, just screw it. And I was trying to work around it because I had to get this piece off anyway to get the rotor off. So I just worked, you know, as a whole as opposed to a piece and a whatever. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just take off the whole thing and I'll deal with it later.
Yeah.
Come to find out, when I took off the full piece, the bolt that I was sitting there struggling with didn't need to be unscrewed. It just slipped right off. And I was like, oh, you bastard. So all that for nothing.
Sorry.
Now this was the driver's side tire. So once I composed myself and I was like, all right, now I've got to get it back on. I had to go, buy a tool to get, because I'd never had a C-clamp. I know I should have gotten one, and then I had to go get one to.
They're still pretty cheap, at least,
Yeah,
right?
it was
Okay.
not bad.
God, I would hope so. It's really, unless it's changed, just like bendy metal, just this little aluminum shit.
It wasn't all that bad. So I got that. It helped. Thank God I went and got it because, oh man, it became a lifesaver. It sped up the process.
Yeah.
So I got the brakes in, rotor on, all that stuff. Good. And I was like, all right, we know what we're doing now. Let's go to the passenger side. So passenger side, I know what I'm doing. Boom, boom, boom. Everything's coming loose. Everything's moving quick. And I was like, oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
And then come to the rotor, and I got one screw out. And then other screw, strip. Strip.
no.
Strip. And I can't get it off. This screw is stripped so bad, there is no way to get it out. And I'm like,
Oh, shit.
what the fuck? You know,
Right.
we're so close. I'm right here. I got everything off
you have one of
like
those saws?
that. I had to screw it out. Like with a drill.
Oh.
I had to drill it out.
Okay.
Just
Damn.
yeah, it was so bad.
How long did that take?
Not long. Luckily, it was just setting it up just to get it out.
Good drill.
Yeah, good drill, electric, and I had a brand new drill bits that I hadn't really used, so that kind of helped.
There you go.
And I got it loose. Luckily, the rotor, numerous videos that I had watched to make sure that I was doing this correctly, because that was another concern. I looked up a YouTube video. How to get that out.
I'm telling you, man.
Came in
Do
handy.
everything as long as there's a YouTube walkthrough.
But they were like, do not worry if, you get into the hole and you ruin the screw hole. It said, it's going to stay on. The tire's going to hold it on. So it said, don't.
Well, would it have new pieces when you're putting the new part in anyway? So hopefully you'd have a new screw, a new grip, a new...
They didn't have new screws in the thing that I bought. Apparently they were too cheap for a $90 rotor. You couldn't throw in a few screws. But at least I just put the old one back in. So at least I know it's at least held on to a point. Because I didn't feel comfortable with it not being... I understand the tire's going to be there. I got it. But just one screw in there just to make me feel better. Just that's all I'm saying. But I got it on. Got it swapped. It's fine now.
We're good? You could stop?
To my knowledge. I mean, there was...
You didn't try it yet?
No.
You didn't just go slowly down the street just to see if you have brakes?
No. It works. I did kind of take it down the road. I just meant...
Don't go on the highway before you know it works.
No, I'm just more... Like you said, there's that thing, maybe I hit it too hard, and I'm always so worried when I do these repairs that I'm going to break something. Because I've done... that before, and I don't want to break stuff, and I'm trying my best not to.
And then now you're paying even more to the mechanic to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I try my best, and and the reason I'm complaining about it is because I'm sore. My body was just like, what have you done to me? Because of all the...
You were probably crumpled up on the ground for hours.
Yeah, and pulling and straining, like every muscle in my body, I can feel the strain. And yesterday, it was just like, I am not doing anything. I just want to sit and do nothing. And I did that most of the day. I did have to get up and move a little while, but,
That probably made it worse because you were sedentary then.
I was trying not to be. But I couldn't. Because I even thought about it at one point, just doing a little bit of yard work. And I was like, I really don't want to.
I told you. I crawled under my desk for 30 minutes to do wire management, and my hip hurt for 2 days. 2 days!
It's like, our body's like, what are you doing? This is...
I don't even know how. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
We can't hold that position for that long. What are you talking about? I didn't even get a pillow. Like, nope. 30 minutes on the ground, 20 minutes to get back up, 2 days sore. Yay.
That's always how it works. So, I wanted to bring up two things real quick. I felt like I had like a slew of things I wanted to talk about. But somehow this is why I got to write this stuff down as it comes to me and not after the fact.
Same though.
Because I blanked. I don't know. Maybe it'll come back to me. I feel like I talked about this on the show, so if it sounds familiar, then just fine. But I did want to kind of bring it up again. Did I mention a show called Sprung that I found?
That actually doesn't sound familiar to me.
Okay.
Like even in conversations outside of the pod.
Maybe as I'm explaining it, it might ring a bell. So this is a show, an original show that I don't know if this is their first on the network, or I say network. Freevee. Have you ever heard of Freevee?
Yeah. It's we were talking about that because that was the old IMDb free show. Yes.
Yeah. So
it's where I watch Night Court.
Right. So Sprung is on that, and it's an original show by the guy who...
So it's a Freevee original?
Yeah. So the guy who created the show, Greg Garcia, he did My Name is Earl. He did Raising Hope, which was another one.
Okay.
Now, if you've seen Raising Hope, this one actually might be a familiar face setting kind of thing.
Okay.
Because Garrett Dillahunt and Martha Plimpton are the two leads of this show, like they were in Raising Hope. Whereas in Raising Hope, they were a couple, like a married couple, dealing with their own stuff. Here, Garrett Dillahunt and I can't remember the other actor's name. They were convicts that shared a prison cell together, and then when COVID happened, they were being let go. because, where they did that thing in the prison system where it's like
compassionate release.
Yeah. So, I mean, all that they had was like Garrett Dillahunt's character. Got caught for possession. 27 years for possession of marijuana. Yeah.
Ah, Jesus. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. So he'd spent most of his life.
Which is real.
Yeah, exactly. So he'd spent most of his life in that prison. Mm-hmm. And then when they get out, they're just like, well, what do we do? And like, I don't know what to tell you. There you go. You're on your own. So his cellmate's mother, played by...
The whole rehabilitation portion of this is actually on you.
Yeah.
So see you later. Yeah.
So his cellmate's mother is played by Martha Plimpton. She is like would be the right word. I don't want to say con artist, but she's a grifter. She's always looking for the next grift to try and screw somebody out of something, get some for herself. Yeah, so she's always kind of...
Definitely caught, nefarious mind.
Yeah.
Definitely working that angle. Gotcha.
So she allows him to come stay with them. There was a woman that he would speak to through the toilet in prison.
Yeah.
And that'd be kind of like his girlfriend. She eventually winds up with them. And then they all kind of have this weird family dynamic living in that house. And then they're all trying to figure out how to pull a job or how to pull a scam. And it becomes this idea where he's trying, like Garrett Dillahunt's character, he just wants to move on. He's trying to figure out where his parents
wants to
are.
Live the right life.
Yeah, he said, I didn't do anything wrong. It was possession. It was ridiculous. It was a stupid thing to have my life destroyed over.
Right.
But what happens is, as they're trying to create these, get rich quick or big scams for the next big scam,
their next MLM,
you realize how much he picked up in prison. So they would be plotting something, and he's like, that's not going to work. And they're like, well, how do you know? And he would just be like, bam. And then you'd see a flashback to him in prison where he hears something, and then he relates all this knowledge he picked up to their scam. And he would give them the information they needed to make the scam work. And then they'd pull it off. But what he would also do is, once the scam was done, he would find a way to make it right. Almost kind of like trade-off. So you pulled a scam, but if I can do something from that scam to better someone else's life, that's what I'm going to do. So that kind of becomes his mission. If I'm going to do a crime, I'm going to repent and give back something.
Yeah, okay.
So it's a very wholesome...
So it does have a little bit of an Earl-esque to it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
He wrote down all this stuff that he did wrong in his life that he was going to go make right,
I found it to be quite hilarious. If you liked those shows, they did 10 episodes. The way it ended, I feel like that might be it, which I'm a little disappointed, to be honest. I mean, kudos for the 10 episodes and that's it, and you've told your story
you wanted to tell. Yeah.
But I was really starting to just really dig these characters, looking forward to seeing them every week, and if that was it, I'm going to be crushed.
I tell you, this is the biggest reason why I hesitate starting new shows, because I just never know if anything's going to make it out of that first season.
Yeah.
You've gotten me hooked, and then,
but
now I'm sad.
Well, I mean, but that's the part I can give it, is at least if that was it, then they concluded the story. Like, you can't really look at it and be like, well, this is unsatisfying. You could say, okay, well, the story's complete. But even as I'm sitting there thinking, if there would be a season 2, I don't even know how you would continue the story and make it legitimate. I feel like you'd have to do some gymnastics to even kind of push for a second season to get them back.
Well, maybe Earl made him a little shy, because that got canceled out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It didn't get a resolution to any of the stories, because it ended totally thinking it was coming back for the next season, and then it got canned over the summer.
Yeah, that's true.
So all of us were just left with this open story. Like, what? How dare you? This show was so good. What do you... So
yeah,
I might be a little shy too. Be like, I'm going to make one season.
Wrap
it up. Yeah.
So I highly recommend that. 10 episodes.
Well, that looks good.
It's a short, sweet, but so freaking hilarious. Mm-hmm. If you... Again, if you liked Earl or whatever, I think you'll like it. Yeah, Martha Plimpton.
I loved Earl.
She makes, like, she's playing a character I've never seen her play before, but she plays it so perfectly. Mm-hmm. And just some of the people and the characters that they encounter and interact with, it make your head hurt sometimes. You're just like, what is wrong with these people? But But again, it's hilarious. It's good
funny.
stuff.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know if you've kept up with this show or not, but Atlanta on FX.
I don't think I ever started that.
That was Donald Glover's or Childish Gambino show.
Oh, yeah. I never did, though.
Okay.
But yeah, I remember it.
I really enjoyed it. I think they did some very interesting stuff with it. I know that some people might find some of their off-the-wall episodes to be a little weird because there is a narrative.
Is it a comedy?
It's a comedy, but it's also kind of a, I don't want to say drama either. There's a satire, I guess would be a great way to look at some of the comedy or the comedic elements to it because, for example, there is a narrative through line. Okay, we're following Donald Glover's character Earn, and he's managing his cousin Paperboy to be a rapper and trying to make it happen, to try and get that moment to make him big. But what's interesting is that on occasion they'll do these off side stories. It could be
like a one-off episode.
Yeah. And it might seem related to something in the story, like a little bit, or just completely not at all. But there's a deep message in that episode.
Okay.
And you really have, sometimes, I won't say that they're all cut and dry clear to where you're like, oh, I see what you're doing here. But if you take a moment to step back and view what they're saying, you'd be like, oh, okay. I see what what the message you're trying to send. Donald
Glover likes to do that kind of stuff.
It's real deep stuff. It really is. And season 3, I think, threw a lot of people off because they really weren't in Atlanta most of the time. That, like your main characters, they were traveling overseas, and it really was interspersed with them and then these one-offs, and then them and then these one-offs, and it was kind of hit and miss every week. But there were a lot of good ones in there.
Yeah.
To where you really, really think about it. I'm trying to think of this one that really got me thinking. And I feel like if I just start trying to dig at it, I'm gonna misremember how it went down. But it was almost like putting a white person into the shoes of a black person. In the sense of being villainized for their actions just because of who they were.
Just because they were white.
But there was an interesting dichotomy to it because it wasn't just like, well, let's see what it's like if a white person had to go through this. It was a lot more than that. That kind of really made, like if you were on the opposite side of that.
Sure. And
you were that person, then maybe you could see a little bit deeper into what it would be like being a black person going through this. Now, saying it was perfect in that way, but I don't know.
We had to hit points that we would relate to, too.
Yeah.
As opposed to, where we would go, wait, that's not right. That's silly. Are you seriously getting mad at them over that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Yeah.
And it even kind of comes back in a way that, and see, I'm trying to make sure that I'm saying this correctly because I feel like maybe there's a detail I'm leaving out. Mm-hmm. But as I'm saying, it kind of puts a white person in a black person's shoes. There's also that it's like they're pushing that idea of the reparations and having to pay back and give back like in the forefront. I remember that was a big deal, and the guy was just like, I don't understand why I have to give back something that I didn't do, and you've heard those arguments and so on.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't want to give a lot away about it, but if you've not seen it, I recommend it. I think it's a very deep show. It can be really funny. It can be really thought-provoking.
And you said it's on FX?
You go, or Hulu on FX if you want to catch up there.
Yeah, that's how I do it, yeah.
But season 4, this is going to be the last. It just started. I'm almost positive season 3 ran this year, too. So they really did a quick turnaround on this season.
Damn.
And the 2 episodes for season 4 just dropped. The second episode, wow, I don't even like that. They did something there where you thought they were kind of working this side story, like I mentioned, and I was waiting to see where it was going to pay off. And then when you finally see what the payoff was, you were like,
yeah,
oh, wow. And then Katrina and I even had a conversation about the payoff, and it was like, would you do that? And she's like, I don't know. And I was like, you mean to tell me that if you had this opportunity, you wouldn't do that too?
Ooh,
and it was just, yeah, it was just this thought. I mean, granted, it seems terrible, but when you think about it, it's like, yeah, but I feel like I would do that too. You know, might be petty, but I would do it too.
I've put myself in situations before where I'm like, you know what though? I don't know that I would have done it differently. You know?
Yeah.
Like now that I have the full context, I don't know. You know.
So, I recommend it. I highly recommend it. Check it out. If I could remember what all this other stuff was that I was going to talk about, but it's apparently slipped my mind. So I'm going to move on to hey, what have you played this week?
What have I played this week? Well, honestly, I did more TV this week. Don't hate me. I felt like I wanted to get caught up on some stuff and everything, and I had, finished all those FMVs the week before. So I kind of took a little chill week on playing a lot of games. I mean, I still played like some little stuff on like the Steam Deck and stuff when I'd go sit outside or whatever, but nothing huge to write home about. I did. Ooh, hold on. I feel like I did put one in my wish list though the other day. Oh yes. And this was part of one of the things I had mentioned or wrote down is just a little thing. Deathloop looks like I did well in hanging out for that because it's coming to the old Game Pass.
I saw it's actually gonna jump on the PlayStation Extra, I think.
Yeah, well, that was the one, we were all, what's going to happen? Microsoft bought them, but this was a Sony thing, so they had that year, I guess, or whatever, that it was exclusive to Sony, like the contract was supposed to be, But yeah, September 20th, so like tomorrow.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Hey, we might have to just play that together at the same time and see what happens.
I want to kind of see is that the one that has that back and forth? Or maybe that was As Dusk Falls I was going to try to con you into so I could see how the multiplayer was on that because I couldn't figure out why in the world I'd want multiplayer on a game like that. But probably streamers. I forget now. That's not in the front of my brain now that when I look at a game, how I'm going to stream it. Like I could just play it now and not have to feel guilty. But yeah, so I was kind of happy I held out for that. I was like, it's going to come.
Yeah.
Just because they bought it. Like, I had faith that it was just going to come our way. And here we are. So I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
Not that there was anything wrong with the PlayStation. Like, we have that too. It's just me personally. This is my gaming
It's like
of
me
choice.
in the TV, I know I have a PC. I know I have games on the PC, but I want to play on my TV. That's where I want to be.
That's fair. And I prefer my PC.
Exactly.
So there you go. So I'm happy I held out for that. So I'll probably be checking that out this week. Hopefully can get through it. We'll see. See how long it is to beat it. It says like 40 plus hours and I might be a little sad, but we'll get there. But sorry. I watched a lot of TV. I got my Imperfects finished. I finished Cobra Kai. Have you seen The Patient?
The Patient.
On Hulu? With Steve Carell and some person I've never seen before.
I have seen it, but I have not watched it.
It's interesting.
Okay.
I don't know where I'm at with it yet. I've watched each episode, especially now that Steve Carell has just been branching out and doing all sorts of amazing acting work. Like, I don't think of him as just the dude who does this silly slapstick comedy anymore, Sure. He's branched out so well. So this is another straight drama. I'm kind of hoping it's just the one season because I can't make the story make sense past that, but
sure.
People do whatever they want to do. But he was a patient of a guy who has tendencies to want to kill people.
Okay.
But he ends up kidnapping his therapist so he can be one-on-one helping him the whole time. So it's following the psychology of Steve Carell's character. I never remember people's names. I'm sorry. I'm happy that I can even remember Steve Carell. But his character that he plays in there, the psychology of him being a psychologist in this situation, trying to help someone not kill other people. So, like, the premise itself was a little interesting with the psychology of it, and where it's going. Okay, okay, but I can't see it wanting to go past that. But you might be interested. They're like 25 minutes long each episode, at least, so it's not like they're asking a lot of my time with this story, and I can catch up with it each week.
Sure.
So if you're looking for a non-hilarious romp with a Steve Carell, then there you go.
All right.
I've been enjoying his other stuff. He's really good.
I
like the morning show too. I don't think other people really liked it as much, so I don't know if it's getting a third season, but I thought he did really well in that too.
Yeah, I never watched it when I had Apple, and I'm gonna have to get Apple again.
I love Jennifer Aniston though too. So,
yeah.
Oh, that's right with the Apple.
I'll have to.
When does Ted Lasso come back?
I know
that's when you're getting Apple.
That's when I'll get it back, because it'll be that, and then the Mythic Quest, the only two shows I watch on there, and I can get everything else everywhere else. And by the way, and I'm hoping this is true. I don't know if you saw this or not, but Paramount is considering, like, they've already kind of done it, but I guess they're thinking about it completely. They're going to merge two apps. They're going to merge Showtime and Paramount Plus into one thing. One less app I have to worry about downloading. One less app I have to search.
Okay, but I already have it on Hulu. So is it just like now Paramount's going to get it also, or are they merging where you have to get both?
Well, since they're all under the same banner, they're going to, you can pay for Paramount Plus, get or Showtime with it, and then it's just all one thing under one roof. Therefore, it makes it simple. Kind of what you did by getting it on Hulu.
Yeah. Sounds like maybe I would just cancel it on Hulu if it's going to come with Paramount, because I think we have Paramount.
Furthermore, I've heard since Paramount has mentioned that Disney is considering the same. So Hulu and Disney Plus, bam, one thing.
Really?
Why
with
not?
Hulu?
Why not? Give me one less place to go searching for shit.
No, I'm just like trying to understand why those two entities. Is Hulu owned by them and I just never had a clue? Or?
They had a majority share in Hulu, so they have more control, and I feel like that there was a deal in place after they got that majority share that they would initially own them at a certain date. But I cannot remember how that went down.
Well, then all right.
But yeah. They pretty much are they own Hulu.
I'm okay with that. I literally can't remember where I watch anything on anymore. I just talk at my TV with the little microphone thing, and wherever program it brings up for the show that I talked is where cool story. I have no idea. It's too much. It's too much. You're expecting me to go all over the place.
I can't help it.
But yeah, what about you? What did you play? I just had little stuff that I wrote down to maybe chat with you about, with like newsy stuff that I saw this week.
Well, I've got it'll sound like I played a lot, but I really didn't.
Okay.
If you think about it. I mean, I guess I got to play a little bit more than I did usually, but in comparison, it's not as much as I really wish I had. So I finished Mafia.
Good.
I'm not going to do any trophy hunting for that, because when you start saying, well, hey, you've got to beat this, but you got to do it on this difficulty, or you've got to do this thing and a thing, and I'm just like, I don't want to do that. I'm done.
No, thank you.
I want one playthrough, and then if I want to come back later, I will. But give me one playthrough to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
Another game that I did, and this was just because there was a night that we didn't have anything to do or whatever, and I was trying to find like a 2-player game for my wife and I, and tomorrow, matter of fact, since you were mentioning the 20th, I guess that's when more PlayStation Plus extra games are going to come to the service.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to get Scott Pilgrim because that's a beat 'em up, and we had so much fun playing the Ninja Turtles. I thought, well, that one, we used to play that on the PlayStation 3 when we first got it. I'd like to revisit that because we never did beat it that I remember. Mm-hmm. So I'm anxious to play that with her again, because that's a 2-player. We can sit on the couch together and play it.
Right.
But I didn't have anything, so I was trying to find something. I was like, hey, do you want to play like Monopoly? Do you want to play Uno? Do you want to play Wheel of Fortune?
I think Wheel of Fortune was on there for free.
And
You wanted to
we were looking.
couch co-op that.
Yeah, we were looking for it, but I thought, well, maybe it's just not all that exciting. I get it. It's board games or whatever. So I kept thumbing through. And then I saw this one that I remember downloading. I think it was on the PlayStation Plus free games for a month one time, and I added it to my library, called Stranded Deep. I don't know if you've played this or not.
I think I've heard of it, not played it, though.
But I noticed it said 2-player online. I thought, okay. So I explained the game to my wife, and I was like, does this sound like something you'd want to try? And she's like, sure. So let me explain the game. You, and possibly a friend, if you want to bring them along, play these characters. They really don't have names or anything, nothing specific or special. You crash land out in the middle of the ocean. It could be anywhere in the world. That's all actually an option you have. Up to you. You can go crash in the United States. You can crash in Asia, India, Africa, Canada, wherever you want to crash.
Wherever we want to crash.
Yeah. You will be crash landing, and then you will make your way to this island, and now you have to survive. So
is it kind of like the TV show Alive?
I guess.
I think that's what it's called, where they all get dumped somewhere, usually where you'd have to live off the land or go hunt or whatever, and they're like, hey, whoever can at least make it to 90 days wins like a bunch of money.
I mean, it seems like it would be something to that degree, because
yeah.
We went in. I mean, the game does not hold your hand. I'll give it that. Okay. So we kind of went in blind, trying to figure out how do we approach this. So we get out. We're on the island. We start looking around. There's rocks. There's sticks. There's coconuts. All this stuff, and we start trying to figure out how to navigate. We died several times before we finally got our bearings.
Okay.
And when you die, unless you save it, that was our first mistake.
Oh, then you're done, permadeath?
So that whole thing is done. You got to restart.
For online multiplayer, they wouldn't let her come back in as someone else, maybe, or no? Or that's how it was for the first time.
This is how it was for us during that time. Now, the very first time, obviously, like I said, we didn't save it. That was our mistake. Second time around, we saved it. Then we were able to come back. So,
sure.
And
try it all over.
Try to figure out where we went wrong and then fix it. Mm-hmm. So at some point, some of your resources, mainly rocks, we noticed, would just dry up. And we're like, well, we need rocks for tools. And if we don't have rocks, then we can't build anything.
Oh, like you've already done foraged the bulk of them away from your area? Okay.
So we were kind of screwed there. Trying to find food. We're like, well, what do we need to do? How do we do this? For food, we crafted spears, and we thought, well, we'll catch the crabs. And then when you catch crabs that are on the beach, what do you do with them? It's like, well, I can't eat it, but I got to cook it. How do I cook it? And it was just all this trying to figure out, how do we do this stuff? Mm-hmm. And even after we built like a fire pit and a fire spit and everything, it was like, okay, well, how do we cook the thing? And then find out.
You just put it over the wall.
No, you have to cut the meat out of the crab. And then put it on there. We do
really?
Yeah, just little things like that we didn't realize we needed to do until after the fact. And it was like, oh, shit. Okay, so now I've got it figured out. So now we know what we're doing. So now we can start to do all this. So we'd start getting plans in place. We're like, okay, so here's our water supply. Because if you want to have fresh, clean water, you have to build like this little water catcher.
Okay.
Something that we didn't realize we had to do initially. And then finally, it was
kind of sounds like the forest.
It becomes kind of a hassle because this game does not give a damn what you want, what you need, and there would be.
Would you know if you crash landed though? I guess if they're going for realism.
Oh yeah, I mean that's exactly it. The very first playthrough we did, the one that we didn't save, thank God, I broke my leg.
Oh.
Yeah, I climbed a tree to get a coconut. And I accidentally hit the wrong button, fell out of that tree, broke my leg, and I was limping the entire time, like slow move. And I was like, damn it, why did I? And I was trying to build a splint. By the time I had everything I needed to build a splint, I died.
Yeah, you bled to death or something.
Yeah, so you can die of dehydration, starvation, you can be poisoned, all this stuff.
Was this on PlayStation, you said?
PlayStation is where I played it, yeah. So what we did is, as we kind of got a lot of this, as we started to get better, you know, or we felt like we were getting better, because we had 2 water looms on this island. We had, tons of fish. Like, I gotten really good at catching fish with a spear. So
spearing them out.
yeah. So I'd start going out and collecting all the fish. Katrina would stay by the fire and she'd, you know, cook the stuff up, kind of make sure we had rations. Then when we felt like we were healthy enough, and you also got to stay out of the sun too. That's another, or at least
Not sure.
you can
Yeah,
get some
you would
like
burn to death, I would imagine.
yeah,
Yeah.
aloe vera or something like that. You can put on like a salve.
Make a hat.
But you can see islands around, like nearby. And luckily, they do give you a raft, a little inflatable raft that's kind of nearby. And it took us forever to figure out how to use it, because you can drag it along. You have to get it out into the water.
Uh-huh.
But what do we have in the water? Sharks.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So we get out into the water. And when we had to make a run to one of the islands, because it was like, well, we've got to find more resources, otherwise we're not going to survive. So we go to an island, and then there's some giant mutant crabs on this island, wild boars. I mean, we didn't realize that's what it was, but they said, no, your first island, that's a freebie. You get to a new island, then you're going to be hit with a lot of shit. So just be forewarned.
So just chill on that first island, man.
You'd think that would be the thing to do, but eventually,
you know.
it's like I need the weapons to kind of stay alive. So it was a little difficult.
Do the fish eventually just stop swimming around your shore?
No,
You
I mean,
speared too many?
there's tons of fish. You'll find tons of sardines, but you know, if we can find something bigger, because I would start swimming out a little farther and then catch a bigger fish. That helps with the hunger, helps with everything. But we had to move on. We had to go, and we got lost. Last we played.
Are you still in the middle of the ocean?
No. Okay, so this is where we ended our game last. So we'd gone to an island. We finally crafted weapons. I was figuring stuff out, and I was like, all right, I got it. So we gathered a bunch of stuff up, okay? And I thought, I've got an idea. The game may fuck us over, but I'm going to hope that maybe we can outsmart the game. I said, gather everything you can, because obviously you have limited amounts of pockets and space. Everything we can, and drop it the hell on that little raft. So we had this raft full of stuff.
Okay.
And we try to make our way back to the island. And then what happens? We get attacked by a shark. The shark bumps the boat, and then everything goes into the water.
The rations.
And I was like, well, damn it.
Shit.
And it was at that point we get back in, and we got turned around somehow because I lost sight. I thought I saw our island, and then we get there, and that's not our island. It was like, well, shit, I went the wrong way. And then we tried going to another island that I thought was our island. It's not our island. So we're lost. And
I guess, take up wherever you're at now.
Yeah, the last thing that happened is we were being relentlessly pursued by a shark. And my wife was having like full-on panic attacks, saying, I can't do this. I can't do it. This is, nope, I can't.
Too much anxiety.
Yep.
Yeah.
But see, that was, I understand that anxiety, but I felt like I could handle that. But there was one thing I was worried about. And sure enough, as soon as I saw it, I jumped back in the boat and went far away. And she was like, please wait for me. And I was like, no, there was a snake on that island, a rattlesnake at that. No. I'll stay in the water.
You don't do sharks. I don't do snakes. So
yeah. So
yeah.
I just can't. I can't be around that right now. So
yeah,
we haven't gone back to that since that fateful night, and I guess we'll wait and see how that goes. But
sure,
it's fun. I mean,
that sounds like a fun cooperative play game.
Yeah, because you definitely have to have your. Yeah,
you needed 2 consoles, right?
Yeah, so we did that. Hey, at least it's getting some. It's not being unused anymore.
Right.
So there was that. Now, as I mentioned before with Mafia, I didn't feel like being a trophy hound.
Sure.
And look, I'm not proud of this, but there's a platinum trophy to be had, and I just set myself on the path to get it. I can get other people to help me get this one. but it's right there and it's easy, and I know I can do it. You know, Paw Patrol on a roll. It's a very simplistic game for children.
Sure.
And, you know, I let my daughter play it. And that was fine. And then I got called out and someone was like, hey, so I see you've been playing Paw Patrol. And I'm like, no, it's my daughter. They're like, hey, no judgment here. And I'm like, okay, well, but I'm just letting you know it's my daughter.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And then I started looking at the trophy list and I was like, you know, this is easy. There's a platinum here.
Yeah.
I could probably get this trophy. All these
Sure,
trophies.
Maybe.
So I played a little Paw Patrol. I'm not, you know.
Now, are you sure she didn't want to get those achievements, Steven?
She was not there, and she hasn't asked me to play it since.
You're like, she doesn't know.
She if she wanted to play it again, she could ask, but she hasn't asked me to play it.
Okay.
So, and I watched. I mean, I looked. I started with the first level just to see how it goes. And you've got to apparently collect all these little these puppy treats, and you've got there's 200 per level. So you've got to make sure that you can't miss a one. Now, it seems easy enough, and it really is.
See, I thought 200 sounded like a lot for a first level, but...
It does, but see how they do it, and I figured this out too, is like you play as two of the pups, or the Paw Patrols, or whatever. You play as...
paws.
So there's 100 in one section, and 100... It's all one level, but then they're just like, you're halfway there to this thing you have to do, and then... So if you've collected 100 as the one, you know you've got 100 left with the other. And they're all right there. You can see them. It's pretty much in your path.
There's no secrets, having to kick something or break something open.
I say secrets in the sense of, you know, regular platforming, except they're not hiding it. It's just take a moment to just backtrack just a little. If you went up and over, go down and under. And just look, because you might find one or two just sitting there.
Yeah.
So it's not hard. So I was just doing that. And then collecting all the golden puppy or the paw prints or whatever, the special things.
Yeah.
And are they hidden? No, because every time you get near one, this kid just keeps talking. The kid won't shut up. I wish I knew how to shut him up, because every minute...
There's no section.
No.
Like audio.
Like, look, I get it. It's for kids. They're just trying to remind you of things. Hey, we're almost there. It's great. What Paw Patrol thing will you use today? Oh, you've collected a paw print. You've collected the puppy treats. Wow, you're doing so good. We're almost there. All right. Whoa, what are we doing today?
Yeah.
Nonstop.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, shut up.
Or you should just be like, I've never felt so good about myself.
I should. I shouldn't be so cynical. I should take the compliment.
Just be like, thank you, man. Thank you for that blow up today. I needed it. Yeah.
And I mean, and the levels are not that long. It takes about 10 minutes to get through one, you know?
So you platinum Paw Patrol?
No, not yet. Because I got to 10, man. And that's where I got a little frustrated because, as I said, all these paw treats or puppy treats are fairly easy to get. And I was on level 10. And there's this swimming level, and I went right through some and somehow missed one. Like, I grazed it, and I couldn't turn around, and I was like, that was some bullshit.
No.
So, I got really, that was when I was done. Because at that point, I had been collecting them all.
It's like,
and
they defeated me.
Yeah, they because it just skated by, and I'm like, that's bullshit.
Just the area of effect wouldn't pick it up.
Yeah. Just skated by. So I was so mad, and I was like, nope. All right. So now I'm done with this game.
Okay.
So when I put that game down, I did go for another one. And kind of what you were saying about Deathloop, I felt this was... I waited long enough. I'm not spending a dime on this game. So I felt like I want to try it for myself. And I did. And that was Marvel's Avengers.
Oh, yeah, it was on there, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know we've been talking about it, and I've avoided it because I didn't want to buy a game that I was worried would be garbage, and, you know.
And then the reports came out.
And then it was kind of like Saints Row. I'm so glad I didn't pre-order that because I would have been so angry.
I would just say stop pre-ordering anything these days, guys, unless there's like legit something there. Well,
like
you don't get unless you do. But I mean,
God of War Ragnarok seems like a sure thing. Spider-Man 2 seems like a sure thing.
I just don't think they'll run out of copies. That's my thing
Yeah,
these days.
that's true.
Back in the day, I understood that because they might run out. You wanted to make sure you had it at midnight or whatever. But now I'm like,
That's fair.
I'll give you the money when you finish.
That's fair.
You know?
So
But anyway.
Yeah, so with Avengers, I thought I would give it a go. I figured if nothing else, I'm just playing through the story, seeing what happens, and that's that. That's really all I want to do because all the online stuff and all that jazz, I don't care. I really don't. So, I'm enjoying the story. Okay. I'm liking it. It's a pretty game. I haven't seen a lot of. There was a glitchy graphic at one point. Well, not a like a physics thing. Like Thor's cape
like
was flapping right here on his chest. It was like, flip, 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 flip. And it was like, okay, that's weird.
Yeah,
but it looks great. It plays great.
Like where the clipping. That was what I was going to say. The thing was clipping through each other.
It looks great. Plays great. Mm-hmm. I'm having fun with it for now.
Are you having $70 worth of fun?
That I don't know.
Okay.
Because I haven't done a whole lot, and all I've really done is just kind of play through, punch a few things here and there, and that's that. And it's fun. I'm having fun with it. I didn't feel like I wanted to keep playing when I stopped.
Yeah.
But, we'll see. Because the repetition thing that they were talking about with the combat, I could see where that could get old. But I'm having a lot of fun, doing things with different Avengers when I could.
All right. Well, are you feeling the leveling up is a pain in the butt? Because wasn't that the thing they were supposed to have adjusted to try to keep you playing longer?
Oh, that for sure is absolute bullshit because I played for hours before I leveled up one time.
I was wondering if that stuck because it just sounded like an awful idea, but since I wasn't playing the game,
you start at the Avengers day or whatever. And that's in the past. Then 5 years pass. Then you're playing as Kamala Khan, who's Miss Marvel. And there's a rooftop level where you're kind of learning your traversal, I guess, stuff. Then there's one where you go to a park. Then from the park you go through a sewer. Then through the sewer you get on a bus to Utah. And then you get to a facility. You go through the facility, and then you eventually run into the Hulk.
Oh, well, there you go.
I didn't level up until I got to almost the Hulk. That was when I finally leveled up the first time.
Okay, well then is that making it all really dull that you're just using the same skills for that long of a period of time? Or since this is your first experience with it, not having played it before, it was nerfed or however we want to say it?
I don't know, but I mean, at the moment, I haven't felt the need to need all these other abilities as of yet because I felt like combat has been kind of sparse. I feel like I've been running and avoiding things more than fighting. Of course, I have done some fighting, but just not as much as I did at the beginning. And then I did.
Okay, sorry, you're playing a superhero game. I want combat.
I mean, there has been. Imagine. It's been interspersed. It's not like all the time combat because she's been trying to sneak around and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
So
stealth mode.
Yeah. So I'm not knocking anybody who likes or dislikes the game. I'm just as a person who is a fan of the content, and I didn't have to pay a dime.
Right.
I'm having fun with it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I've lost anything. I'm having fun with it.
Well, good.
That's all I'm going to say.
That's all that matters in my opinion. So, as long as you're playing the thing you like.
Mm-hmm. So, did you have anything newsworthy you want to talk about? Because
yeah, there's a couple of things.
Okay.
I mean, do you have a big Big headliner.
Well,
big fun thing.
I thought for this week we would discuss all that the big game announcements from this week because everybody kind of seemed to have some game announcements.
So like with State of Play and the
Nintendo Direct.
Yep.
And then,
okay. Well then, this is the only thing then, because the rest of it was kind of stuff that I found from there too. So cool. Probably did see this week, which I don't know what I was expecting. So I don't know if I should have been shocked or not.
Okay.
But the PSVR 2 games will not be backwards compatible, and also, or the PSVR 1 games aren't going to work on the 2. And I don't know what I was thinking would happen because it is a whole new tech. Right? They're doing Inside Out on the headset. We're not using the eye. So all of those games would have been programmed that were for PSVR with that in mind, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know why I was a little shocked because as I sat with it for a moment, I'm like, yeah, I guess, yeah, it would take a whole lot more programming and maybe these developers will do patches, will work on it so they can have a PSVR 2 version of the game. But it was kind of a bummer. And again, I don't know what I was thinking because it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Because the tech is so different from the first one.
But still, I mean, I was honestly sitting there thinking the other day when they were showing some of that in action, I thought, man... Because I think IGN did a breakdown of it where they actually got some hands-on playability with it, and I think they played a lot. I noticed they focused on the Horizon VR game.
I think that's their newest one.
I think they mentioned a few others, but that was the one they really spent a lot of time with or seemed to bring up a lot.
Yeah.
And when they were talking about the controllers and how all that operated, even like finger, like I guess there's finger motion or something like that.
The haptics with the fingers, yeah.
So I started thinking, man, wouldn't Iron Man be really awesome to play in this? Right. Because where they showed the hands letting go, you could do that as kind of floating up. And then I was like, man, that would be so awesome. So if they're not going to patch that to update it, I mean, that's disappointing because that game needs some more eyes on it.
And they might. I'm not saying none of these developers may not go back and decide that it is worth it for them to work on it and program it to work with PSVR 2. But yeah, I mean, that's another good point because the controllers are so much different. We had the Move controllers. Mm-hmm. So yeah, again, I don't know what I was thinking. But maybe it was just hope in my eyes. But I mean, with the technology being so different, I could understand why one games wouldn't play on the 2 unless they want to program it with all of that different stuff the PSVR 2 can do. It's just a completely different system.
Yeah.
Working with one camera in front of you and the move sticks or the inside out technology. And then, like you said, with all the finger movements and stuff that'll come with their newer controllers. But yeah, just...
it would have been nice.
I mean, it would have been nice, but it does make sense. If you sit and think about it logically, you're like, that is two different technologies. And, I mean, we're supposed to get a bunch kind of at launch anyway, because I know they're doing Among Us VR, which should be coming out with the 2. I think I wrote down Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
It's also
Spirits
one
Unleashed.
that's supposed to work on the VR too. And then I saw that they were talking about Resident Evil Village and all that kind of stuff, but I feel like that was already getting ported over for some PC. So, granted, I know the coding is different, but
if you can do that, you can port over these other games. You can make that shit work.
Assuming I think what the biggest problem is some of those were built for just PlayStation VR. Like Blood and Truth, for example, the one I really loved, that was 100% a PSVR exclusive. It didn't come out on PC or any other VR sets. So that one will just be dead to the one unless they decide...
No.
Which was an amazing game.
Yeah, don't do that.
So hopefully the developers will find value in some of these, and I don't even know how all you have to start over with all of that. You know what I mean? We could sit here all day long and be like, just make an upgrade. You know, like they can hit a button, but I honestly don't know how long that would take or what all it would entail, or if it would be monetarily worth it for some of the PlayStation only titles.
Yeah, true.
Like that, I don't know either. I don't know how well the PS VR exclusive games sold.
Yeah. I feel like they had to have been better than some others.
I mean, especially at the time, it was the most affordable.
Mm-hmm.
Still, I guess, would be.
So I guess I'm curious as well, because I would assume they would be doing another VR showcase disc like they did for the PSVR. So they'll have these little demos. And I would love to see updated versions of that, like the shark cage. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, think about it. But
yeah,
that
little
like
demo game was great.
Yeah, because I mean, we're talking putting that stuff in high def 4K, damn near, from what I'm hearing. Because I did say that the displays, I think we're at what's the resolution? The 2000 2160.
I always forget digits because I just suck at life. But yes.
So each lens, projects that.
It's supposed to have its own, the 1440 on each lens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The guy was saying that the way it sits on your face, you have none of that. What do you call it? What they call it?
Light.
Where the tunnel vision, I guess, or where you feel like you.
Oh, where it curves all the way around to your peripheral.
Like you can, everything feels like it's like you.
It's not just a hard stop with a black line. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they fixed that. He said the comfort level is, kind of like what they did before. It's solid.
I still stand by theirs is the most comfortable headset.
Mm-hmm.
I still stand by it out of the ones that I've tried. So that was the one thing I was hoping they wouldn't get rid of. I'm like, dude, you have the lightest, most comfortable headset.
Yeah.
Work more on that.
Yeah, he said everything.
Don't default to these other people.
The weight distribution, I think, is what he was saying. It was like the way it sits on your head. It's like it's perfect.
I think it's just that halo design.
It is.
Because I've tried like the ball cap design ones, and those eventually start to hurt your head.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know they're probably not thinking. They know. What am I saying? We're gamers. They know we're going to be in these things for days on end. So, like, those are not comfortable after a while. But that Halo one, man, yeah, if you get it sitting just right, and because of how light it was,
mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't recall getting, like, headaches or it hurting my head. But I did have a lot of light that would creep through, like, underneath and stuff, which might have just been due to how light it was, and you don't want to tighten it up to make your face hurt. But I'll be glad to get in this one.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to check it out.
A lot of everything that I was hearing, there were some concerns about some of the haptic feedback controls and, things like that, where it just didn't feel like it was necessary or doing anything, He said, eventually developers might find a way to implement it, or maybe they haven't implemented it.
Oh, yeah. I think we do this with every new generation of something. Until developers start to really utilize all the new features, some of it seems useless. Mm-hmm. Well, even the touchpad on the PlayStation 4 controller and everything, I know for the longest time we were like, well, what are they going to do with this?
Yeah.
And then for the longest time, I want to say it was just you pushed it down to get to menus. No one was really using it or to flip through a book or something in the game. Mm-hmm. And then as time went on, they started using it for other things. But, yeah, I think it'll be fun. Mm-hmm. We're in a really good VR age that if they've got some really fun developers over there working with it, I still think they had some of the most fun games. Sure. That Blood and Truth, and then even it was the same developer that did that on the demo game we were just talking about, right? Mm-hmm. London something?
Yeah.
London Heist, maybe?
Yeah. I think that was it.
It was the same devs who did Blood and Truth. So much fun. Yeah, once they get all of that stuff figured out, which I feel like they'd have to because this isn't like super new with the haptic, with the finger pads, because I know Index has been doing that. Mm-hmm. So maybe their own spin on that copyright or whatever. But I think we're going to start getting into some really cool age of VR. So
I hope so.
I'm excited. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to chat with you about that because I know we both have PSVR 1 titles. So I was like, bummer, but I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, reading it, I'm like, that does make sense. It's 2 different engines. It's 2 different technologies. So, it wouldn't have been programmed for that. I think we just live in a day and age where tech is too good that we just assume these things could be switched over. Or at least my brain defaults to that. Like, it could just be switched over, right?
It'll be fine.
But, yeah. And then but this will be getting into some of the state of play stuff or whatever. So, yeah. What do we got? What do we want to chat about?
Do you want to start PlayStation or Nintendo?
I think I have PlayStation up first. Oh, you know what? I wrote a back and forth, so it doesn't matter. We'll just go with whatever you got.
I guess let's go with Nintendo first, since I guess they were kind of because by comparison, I think the internet was unanimously underwhelmed by Nintendo's.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a lot of simulation. Okay, sorry. A lot of games that I would play to kill time, but
farming simulations and stuff like that seemed to be the thing that was a trip. I don't know why they felt the need to announce so many of them. But
a lot of smaller indie titles for some reason. Yeah, it was a lot of those.
But we got Return to Dreamland, the Kirby game. You know, I like Kirby, but I don't feel like they are doing a lot of new things with Kirby. It's just,
I mean,
the same thing.
Smallest bunch of stuff, right?
Yeah, it's just
I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but yeah.
No, I mean they've remade one of the older games. Now you've got 4 people, and you can all be Kirby, and you can all play together, and that's great. But it's not what was the other Kirby game that just came out? It was like a big 3D platformer.
Oh yeah,
and that was something new. So I guess that negates that.
I don't like 3D platformers until they figure out that camera work. But yeah, maybe one day I'll get on board with them.
I know that they were going on about having, Tunic is finally coming to. Yep. Which did that come out on PlayStation yet? Because I felt like it got announced.
Yes. Yeah.
But I can't remember if it came out.
I feel like close to around when 5 came out. No. Am I getting it confused with another game?
It's that one that looks like Zelda, but it's with a little fox. We saw it at a PAX one year.
Oh, yeah. Did that come out?
I feel like it did. I know it's out on Xbox, but beyond that, I don't
feel
know
like it did, though.
Maybe it did. What else did they announce? They announced those. If you're a Resident Evil fan and all you have is a Switch, I'm sorry. Because all this the cloud demo stuff.
Cloud gaming. I mean, if you have amazing internet, then great. It's just, I know the average in the United States is 16 to 20 megabits, and that's not good.
No, I don't.
I mean, it'll get you by, but it's not. I wouldn't think good enough to play a full game like that on, but I don't.
Not like that. Yeah, that's what worries
that's a pretty
me.
Intensive.
Anyway, there's that. Bayonetta 3, I still wish I could. I need to play the others. I think Pikmin 4 was something that people were looking forward to, and they didn't.
I did see some people chatting about it.
But they didn't show anything. That pissed me off. Because I loved Pikmin. I played the first. I know I played the first one. I don't know if I played the second one. Maybe the third. I don't remember.
Yeah, we pretty much were only told it's coming to the Switch.
Yeah. And they just showed, it's like, look at how good this looks. Is like, I guess.
I mean, there's that, I guess.
We can just assume you showed us something accurate.
But wasn't this supposed to come out years ago? Or am I getting it confused with another one? Because I feel like this was another one we were talking about, a remake one for like 5 or 6 years. I could be wrong.
I don't remember.
We've been remaking so much, I might be just all the news is blending together in my brain. But yeah, agreed.
Now, the 2 biggest things, unless I've missed something, but the one... I mean,
there was like a plethora of like the Final Fantasy somethings.
Yeah, the Theater Rhythm, which, I mean, it's a fun game.
The Theater Rhythm game.
Yeah, I've played it before. It's not bad. Yeah. Okay, so here's what I want to do. So... I want to talk about the one thing, and then we'll get to what I consider the more exciting prospect. Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, I think is what it was called.
Okay. Tears or tears? Real question.
I kind of wondered that too. I'm assuming tears. It sounds more like a Zelda title. Yeah.
Okay.
But tears, I did look at the word, and I was like, is it tears or tears? I feel like tears.
Freaking English.
Because... It just from the aesthetic of Tears of the Kingdom doesn't sound right. For some reason. To me, it doesn't sound right. So Tears of the Kingdom sounds absolutely like a Zelda title. I'm under the assumption that's what it was. If they come back and say Tears, then I don't know anything.
I don't know either.
I am completely lost.
Yeah.
They showed us some gameplay, I guess.
I feel like it was just another trailer thing. Now, look, I'm sorry. I wasn't the one who was chomping at the bit for this game or super excited because I know this is fighting words.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't that into Breath of the Wild.
And that's understandable. It's
I'm
not
like,
your game.
I guess I just like them old school Zelda games from the NES and call it a day. Like, even 2 was kind of meh. I think maybe my first love will always just be that original.
Yeah. Well,
The
2
original
was
Dungeon Crawler.
2 was a drastic departure. That was like, whoa,
different.
what is this?
Yeah, yeah.
So I think you could be forgiven because Breath of the Wild was...
I tried.
But it's... The reason it got me is everything that I've said before. Open world, get to explore, do whatever. And the fact that they were just like, go do whatever you want to on your way. Sign me up. Because you've just given me full freedom to play however I want to play. And I'm all for it.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I had fun just running around, going exploring wherever I wanted to go.
See, I think you enjoy those open world titles a lot more than
do.
I do. I can get into some, but it's definitely not a draw for me.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think you can be forgiven. This, when I saw the scope of it, I mean, you're just like, God damn, man. How much bigger do we need to go? And you think your hardware can handle this?
This is why I'm tired of open world titles. I'm like, I don't need all of that to do.
No.
And I'm not knocking those who love it. It's just me personally over the years. I'm like, this is becoming too much.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Reel it in a little for me, please.
And I mean, this is me saying that I love this stuff, but there's a point where I just look at it and I'm like, there's so much, man. You're trying to get me to go explore, and it just seems overwhelming, and it makes me worried or scared to play. You know, because I don't want to get sucked down that rabbit hole so hard, and I know it will.
Because eventually, sometimes if I get lost too much or don't, I'll sometimes put it down and not come back.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next time you fire it up a year later, you're like, I have no idea what I was doing, where I'm at anymore, or which direction to head. You have to just start over. So, yeah, I was more curious to hear what you thought on that one, since I knew of the two of us, you would be the most likely person to play it.
I'm curious to see it when it comes out. I don't know if it'll be like an instantaneous purchase, because I don't know where I'll have the time to play it. You know?
True.
As I've said numerous times, it's just, I'll get around to
busy
it.
Man.
But the Nintendo Switch Online announcement for the 64, we had 3 Mario Party games, which I don't really see why you need that, because they just put out Super Mario Party, which was a combination of all these games from all the other games into this new package. So why would I want to go back and play the old games? You see?
But now you can have golf.
I guess.
That was the only, my big takeaway was that you'll get the golf, since the title was delayed, but now for your reward, you'll get golf too.
Woo.
That was my takeaway. See what I'm paying attention to? I'm like, ooh, golf.
Golf. Then we had the 180 snowboarding game, which I never played, but I remember it always when the 64 came out. It was just like, hey, you want to rent this game? And I'm like, no, I don't. And then there was Excitebike 64, which was another one I think I saw, but I never played.
I had fun with those.
Did you?
Yeah, the Excitebike games. Yeah, they were kind of fun.
I
don't know that I played it on 64 though. I think it was just the NES.
Yeah, the original NES title I played. The 64 version, I don't think I did.
I don't know if I did, and oddly, because I had a 64.
Yeah.
I can't remember what all games I had on it now though.
Well, these games that I'm about to bring up right now, I know I had. Maybe, I feel like I had Pilot Wing 64, but I may be mistaking it, but that's going to be jumped on there. Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, I got obsessed. I was in a Pokemon phase at the time. I got that expansion pack. I got the games. I transferred. I had this Mewtwo that was a mutant who could just tear through. I called him Zeus because he was unstoppable. Like, I had him leveled up. He had ice powers, lightning powers, psychic powers, healing powers. So he was just a god. and there was rarely a Pokemon that could stop my Zeus. So I would just whip him in, because you think about it, he had the gamut of powers that could really wear everybody down. So I was just like, yeah, this is... And anytime I would play with a friend, be like, you can't be using that Mewtwo, man. It's not fair. And it's like, but he's mine.
How is it not fair? I earned this.
Yeah, I made this beast.
This is back before you paid to win, baby. I earned this.
Yeah, so if you
deal
want...
with it, get good.
Yeah, if you want to try and beat him, then find something that could beat him.
And work on him. Yeah, work on him.
That's all I'm saying.
Play the game.
But GoldenEye...
Yes. I knew we were going to have to chat about that for a moment.
I was so excited.
My notes on it.
I was so excited because I did. If I heard the rumor that GoldenEye was going to be one of the games announced, I would have been like, bullshit. That's another rumor.
Well, we've been talking about it forever and leaking and pretending and lying and gossiping and.
Well, it just seems like that rumor, and we have no reason to think that it couldn't, because from what we've seen, Nintendo and Microsoft seem to have a nice relationship with one another, and clearly it paid off,
right?
Because here we go. So that really gets me excited, because if Nintendo wants me to continue to be because this was already a thing that has, like, I will definitely play this again. Now, granted, how great it will be, how great the nostalgia will be, I don't know.
Did you do a little digging? Because it seems like it's almost two versions, unless I'm misunderstanding what it is here. It's like the Switch and the Xbox are kind of different in the fact that the Xbox will have all of the achievements and everything, and the Switch one, the way they made it sound, like it's just compatible with it. There's no upgrade, really. Like, they're not doing anything to the graphics or whatever, so it's just, hey, it's actually able to play on the Switch. And then hold on, I was trying to get
I'm not surprised by that in the slightest. Not at all.
Xbox version includes achievements, 4K resolution, and smoother frame rate, even in the split screen multiplayer. No mention of online multiplayer at this time, but that was just notes that I had written down. But yeah, I just found that interesting. That why wouldn't they just give you achievements on the Switch too, though?
Because they don't have achievements on the Switch.
Oh, they don't?
No,
see, that tells you how much I've played them or pay attention to when some pop. No, okay. Oh, well then. But yeah, it just seemed like that one's going to be the emulated version. And then, Xbox gets a different thing.
They did mention that the Switch version will have the online multiplayer, so I guess that's something. At least you'll have that.
So maybe that's what the Switch will get over the Xbox or something, because I couldn't see anything about online for Xbox, but it had split screen.
But we're talking about playing online on the Switch, so
That's true.
Anyway.
That's true too.
I just want to revisit the game. I'm not saying it's just going to take me back to a time. I want to do that.
Nice that they're making it for you to play.
Yeah.
That was always my complaint. It's like you just trap these things. You don't let us rebuy them or re-download them or anything. Like,
I want to play it again.
Play.
And that's why I was kind of hoping with the announcement of that, there could be a few other rare games that will make their way onto the platform.
Right.
Like Conker's Bad Fur Day. A game that I want to play again so bad. Like, I was so desperate to just have it for a moment that I started watching a YouTube video of just gameplay.
I've done that.
And then I had to stop myself because I was like, damn it, I want to play it. I don't want to watch it. I want to play it. So maybe there's hope.
Maybe, yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Come on, Microsoft.
Please.
Give us a solid. Yeah.
But I can't remember if there was anything else. I think they mentioned Earthworm Jim on the Sega Genesis version, but is coming to this online Switch. And then there was, farming game, another farming game, something that looked like a farming game, and then a farming game. So,
Well, It Takes Two is coming to the Switch.
Oh, yeah. And Fatal Frame, Mask of the Lunar Eclipse.
Fatal Frame, which
is a Wii game.
Always Japan, right?
Well, it was a Wii game.
This will be the first Western elite. Oh, that's right.
And it might have been that, too.
Oh, yeah. I feel like it was Japan only, but you're right, maybe.
And then there was a Fire Emblem game. I don't remember.
Oh, I do remember seeing that too. Yeah.
Which, that's not a bad series. It's just a unique. Like if you like those games, that's one of those you're in it or you're not. I don't think that's for everybody.
But yeah, it was just kind of a bunch of, hey, all of these will now be available on the Switch.
And you're like, cool. You know?
Well, I mean, if you have a Switch, that's a good payday, right? Mm-hmm. If that's your console that you have, and then you're like, yes, more games. So,
yeah.
Hey, I got excited. Some games finally came to PC because I just hadn't played them before. And I'm like, hey, new for me, Persona. They've been around forever, but I never got to play them on PC. So now I'm getting to play them.
That's true. So that's all I've got for the Nintendo thing. It was, I mean, there was some exciting stuff for me, mainly the GoldenEye.
Yeah.
So
no, that was definitely a good, fun announcement.
Yeah.
That,
it's one thing, not a lot. I lied. So I was excited about that at least. So they did something right. And I know a lot of other people were disappointed. So whatever. State of Play, on the other hand, brought the thunder, especially with God of War Ragnarok.
Loved it.
I can't wait to play this game.
Death can have me when it earns me. I was like, that line.
Like, I haven't wanted to buy any games because of the PlayStation Plus thing, but I might have to just pester Todd and borrow his copy. You don't
want to own it?
I do, but I've being cheap right now.
Expensive.
If I don't want to have to buy it, I don't want to. I would definitely support it, and I don't think it'll be a bad game at all.
No. I expect it'll do very well.
I'm excited for it. I can't wait to play it, and I hope that I'll have time.
It was a fun trailer. We actually got story, we got gameplay, we got action.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a fun trailer. Yes, not a new announcement, but is it just me or did Kratos' voice sounded like way more hoarse this go round?
Yeah,
like he slammed a bunch of cigars before he went on this new.
Yeah, he's,
or is it just me?
No, he sounded a little rough. But
yeah, it sounded way more.
That may be
I don't know.
The way it needs to be.
I mean,
make him sound
a tough life.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you call what they're doing.
Whatever that thing
their
is.
existence. Yeah. But hey, God of War DualSense controller.
I mean, yeah.
A fancy new God of War controller if you want it.
It's a thing that maybe you want, maybe you don't. I don't know.
People like to collect stuff like that, so there you go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What else did they have? I mean, that was like the big deal.
Mm-hmm. That was definitely, their big one. I can't remember where I saw this. Was the Yakuza announcements attached to that?
There was a new, well, it's a remake. Or
well, but there was like 3 different games in there, which was what was interesting to me because like they were talking about Like a Dragon 8, which would be another turn-based RPG. But I found it kind of interesting because they were talking about the fact that they would not be opposed to a party version of Yakuza, which yes, please. The ridiculousness of those whole games and everything. Yes, I would like a party version of that game. I'm trying. Oh, dang it! I should have kept my notes in order. I'm such a failure today.
Yeah, I saw the Like a Dragon Inshin.
Because there was it was a brief tease having Keto back.
Yeah.
Which I thought we wrapped up his story. I don't know the way they kind of bounce around.
That's true.
With their story games, but. Dang it.
And then we had.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
That's right. So the last time we saw him was Yakuza 6, and then they also announced Yakuza Inshin.
Yeah, that's the one I was just talking about. Yeah.
Okay, that, and then Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name. So there was several different Yakuza games they were talking about. So 2023 and the release in 2024. So I was like, well, that's a fun, if you're a Yakuza fan, lots of fun Yakuza games coming. And they were a good time.
Yeah.
Very long time dump. But they're fun. You have to commit. You'll be there for a couple of weeks. But yeah.
Yeah, there were those. It's definitely a series I've wanted to get into, and I know I started one, and I can't remember why I stopped playing it. I think it was around the time I transitioned to PlayStation 5 and never...
Maybe I'm trying to remember. I feel like we had this conversation and you were saying like something about how it would take 30 to 40 minutes to get out of a cutscene. And you were like, I just wanted to dive in and play when you were trying to do it. Because it does trap you when you first start the game where you'll feel like you're not really doing anything for an hour, you know?
That was one of the things I remember. It was just like, come on, dude. Yeah. Let's go. I just want to play the thing.
And that's fair. That is fair, because even I love them, and there'd be moments where I'm like, okay, come on, wrap up the cinematic so I can start playing and doing something again.
Yeah,
so
please.
They could edit those down.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So I think another big announcement that people feel like it was new. I feel like I knew this was coming, but Tekken 8.
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed to be pretty high on everybody's list. It looked awesome, but...
It really did look good, yeah. I mean, I don't know how much was actual gameplay, but...
probably not a lot, but, you know, I'm not gonna...
Right.
I'm not gonna knock it.
True.
But, you know, if you're into that series, I personally haven't played a Tekken game in quite a while, so
I don't know that I ever have. I'm not... I never did a whole lot of beat-em-ups.
Sure.
Like that.
So, I'm not the target audience here. It looks cool. And really I'm happy for everyone who's excited.
Yeah, because it was a pretty decent full look, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were excited for it, maybe that'll quench some of your thirst for it more.
I got excited over... Well, I don't want to say I got super excited. I'm intrigued by the Star Wars Tales from Galaxy's Edge VR game.
Just because it's them.
Just because, you know. I mean, give me Star Wars... Like, the one best part of Star Wars Battlefront that came out by EA was the VR demo that they put in where you could fly around in an X-Wing. That was the greatest thing. Like, I played it several times, even though it's the same campaign over and over. Didn't matter. I was getting to fly an X-Wing in the depths of space, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
I loved it. So, I'd do that at any point in time. I don't give a damn if it was 30 minutes or not. It was just a fun ride. Mm-hmm. You know. So, give me more of that. I'm all for it. I wish they would.
We're good. Yeah.
I wish they would make a Rogue Squadron game in VR. I would, oh my God, I would be in heaven.
Oh, yeah. Maybe for VR2, PSVR2.
Yeah. And I don't know if you saw this news, in a way that studios or console makers are you know, getting their claws into developers, and I notice Sony seems to be egregious on this front here lately.
But have no problem yelling at Microsoft.
Yeah.
Hey, Call of Duty should be on everything forever. This is
you know, his whining this week or last week.
But yet, how many times do we hear this is a PlayStation exclusive thing? Like Spider-Man is a PlayStation exclusive character in the Avengers. And now PlayStation gets an exclusive Hogwarts Legacy quest. Why? Like a full quest, and you can't play it on anything but this one thing?
I think that's bullshit. You shouldn't, like, then if I'm buying it on a different console, it better be cheaper because I'm getting less content.
Yeah. I mean, why?
If you're doing it that way, I just think that looks worse on the company itself, willing to sell off part of its content to be exclusive to one place.
Especially
instead of letting all gamers enjoy it.
Especially when you could do something kind of like what they did with Soul Calibur. I thought this was the smartest thing ever. I think that was back in Soul Calibur 2 when that came out. Each game had one exclusive character. Now, it might not be the character that you want, but it seemed kind of exclusive to the console. For example, Link was a playable character in the Nintendo version of Soul Calibur. Makes sense.
Okay.
Because that's a Nintendo character.
Yeah.
I think Spawn was a character for the Xbox. Maybe not equal value because they really don't have a character. I mean, right now, Master Chief would seem like it would have been perfect.
I guess,
but again, I don't think they fit the aesthetic of Soul Calibur. So, you know. Point being, they found a character. They put each game or version of the game had their exclusive character. Everybody wanted Link. But
Nobody wanted to buy a Switch.
Exactly.
That's not fair because the Switch sold really well.
Well, this is a GameCube title, I think is what it was.
Oh.
That's how old it was.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We're reminiscing. Sorry.
So it makes you... To me, that made sense. You know, if you're upset because you can't have Link, but you have to understand that's a Nintendo character. So if you want to play this Nintendo character, you have to have the Nintendo console.
Sure.
Sorry, that's just how it works.
Yeah.
Characters like Spider-Man, and in this case, just a mission, give other, players from other consoles, give them an exclusive character. If you're going to do that shit, the least you could do is give them something. So at least now they don't feel, obviously Spider-Man's a bigger deal. Everybody wants to play as Spider-Man, but if you...
Which is why they'll never let him go, or as long as they're allowed,
But you mean to tell me you couldn't think of a bigger pull or another interesting character that you could put like on the Xbox that, they could sit there and say, okay, it might not be Spider-Man, but at least we have this fucking... Well, I don't know if they would be able to do that because I guess that gets into the sticky Spider-Man. Because I was going to say, give him Venom. But then they'd be like, nah, but it's still
too
kind
close
of...
to Spider-Man.
Yeah, and then they just be like, well, we can't really do that because... I don't know.
That's why they don't come out on PC. We'll just mod our own character in. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Hell, you could give them like a character like Blade or something, one of these... or Ghost Rider.
Be a fan. Ghost Rider, maybe.
Maybe something, a little bit more badass. And not to say Spider-Man can't be badass, but, darker, badass. Fits the Xbox. Blah.
Right.
I don't know. But, yeah, this PlayStation exclusive quest, then give Xbox an exclusive quest. Give Nintendo Switch.
I feel like if you're charging the same.
Exactly.
I mean, what do I know business, but... This is why you keep having your fan bases constantly arguing with each other, like.
And here's another thing too. What good is this exclusive quest? What am I going to get out of this? Because it better be an exclusive item. If you're gonna put this thing in here and you're gonna make it a big deal, then what am I getting for it?
Watch it be like a 30-minute side quest.
Mm-hmm. Does nothing.
Right.
I think it's ridiculous. It's stupid.
No, I agree. I mean, I know why they're doing it. I just think it's, silly because you're really just kind of hurting your fans.
Yeah.
And trying to punish them for maybe being able to afford one over the other or just a preference over the other. Who cares? Honestly, at this point, 2 consoles, the difference between them, negligible. Sorry. Now it kind of is all about the titles.
Sure.
They're both amazing and they run great,
I mean, in all honesty, kind of thinking back to when we used to have these multiple releases, I remember my only concern was how good does the game look or play on the different consoles? And then they'd have these comparisons like, here's how it looks on PlayStation.
Here's
360. So you get these comparisons of which one. If it's all about performance, well, then that's on me for buying the one console that it's just not going to perform as good on, or not look as good on, but it's still going to play, right? I'm still getting the same game. It's just not going to look like this version. Fine. But I'm still getting the same game, so I'm still getting the same enjoyment out of it. Doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. And I remember having those little moments where I thought, man, I wish my game looked that good, but who cares? Still played.
Yeah. I guess that was never really a selling point for me. Does it look amazing and I love it when I get one? Sure. But, graphics are graphics. Give me a good story. Give me good gameplay. Give me mechanics that work,
Right.
But not knocking for other people. My husband's that way. He wants it to look sweet.
I mean, yeah, sure. I do too, but to what extent is right. I mean, if it's just going to look great but be a piss poor game,
sure.
What's the point?
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Agreed.
There was a game that it looked really interesting, but seeing who's behind it, I don't know if it's going to be for me. Because, I mean, it's a great developer, great team, but Rise of the Ronin from Koei Temco. The Team Ninja,
Team Ninja,
did the whole Ninja Gaiden and
the Neo games.
A lot. Well, the newer ones,
I think.
Yeah.
Neo. Yeah.
So, I remember I did play one of those, I think. And
I tried to play the first one. I can't get good at some of those, and I just had to put it down.
And that's kind of where I'm at here. I feel like it's going to be one of those games that you've got to play a certain way, and
It looks lovely, though.
it does. It really does.
Yeah.
Like I was excited about it, and then I saw who was developing. And I was like, shit, I really do want to play it.
Yeah. Do we not like Team Ninja?
No, I like them. I know what kind of games they make. That's where I'm saying.
Like it's going to be brutal.
So
and
yeah, like if
yeah.
they said From Software, I was like, well, I'm out. 'Cause I know.
Yeah.
I know what game you're making, so
Yep.
and I'm glad people
And for
get
those-
to love all that stuff. What's that last game that they put out that everybody fell in love with?
From Software?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, with George R.
Yeah,
George R. Martin. I think I eventually muted it on Twitter because I got so annoyed hearing about it. Not that there was anything wrong,
No.
but I'm like, dear Jesus Christ, man, my line is nothing but about this game, and now I think I successfully burned it out of my brain. Everyone is listening at home, screaming the name of this game right now.
I know.
Why the heck are you two not?
Dava is.
Thinking of it for sure.
Yeah, David, go ahead and just tell us what this game's name is. I'm sure we'll know by the time you get it posted. But
Yeah, because I'm sitting in front of a computer. Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
Jesus
there
Christ.
we go. Elden Ring.
Elden Ring. Yes.
So
I did mute the words Elden Ring on Twitter.
It's okay. I mean, it was bound to happen.
It was just too much. I get it. You guys loved it. It was great. But, dear Lord, yeah.
Was there anything else that came out? I know.
Yeah, nothing new. Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection coming to PC. So that was fun for me to hear. Modders, get to work. I want to play all sorts of dumb characters in my Uncharted. Okay, thanks.
As we're sitting here, I don't know why it just popped in my head. I remembered one of the things I was going to bring up, and now it's a little late. No, it's too late now. Unless we're going to end the show on this. I mean, not for us, but I just felt like I was trying to keep it all nice and neat, and then we're talking about games now. I don't want to revert back to something else. I might end the show that way. Who cares?
Yeah.
You got any more games before I bring that up?
As I'm looking through it, we've touched the ones that I actually made notes about. So,
yeah.
That's
Okay.
all the notes that I had highlighted here. We touched the Yakuza and the Golden Eyes, which I knew we were going to have to do.
I didn't even see when GoldenEye was coming out. I guess, I don't know if they actually
wait,
said.
I wrote it down. Hold on. Didn't I? Oh, I just clicked it down.
Because that was the only one I really wanted to check out and play. I just don't remember.
Hold on. It said August 25th, 97. I'm like, not that one.
Nope, not that one.
Okay, and the Nintendo Direct presentation on... Oh, come on. Making me click in. You could have just put it in there.
Could have.
If I wouldn't have clicked out of my notes and shut them down already, and I never hit set. I don't know.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, so we know it's coming at some point. So GoldenEye will play that at some point. So what I want to tell you about. Are we done talking about games? Because then I'm gonna just wrap everything up.
Yeah.
Okay. Clerks 3. That's what I wanted to talk to you about.
Yes. I
I went and
didn't
saw
see
that.
it, but I want to at some point in my life.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be digital or whatever soon.
Sure. I hope so.
But he's doing, like a tour, and Lionsgate was actually nice enough to put it out in theaters for people to go see. They did these Fathom event things. That's how I got tickets. And he actually introduced the movie, Kevin Smith, just thanking us. He's like, of all the movies you can come out and see in theaters, he's like, you pick my little rinky-dink movie. He said, everybody just wants to come see Marvel movies or what have you. And he said, and I appreciate it. He said, you spent the money on coming to see me. So, and my silliness. So I appreciate it. And I don't, do you know what the plot of the movie is?
I don't. Well, I mean, I know if it's still the same as like Clerks, where the guy who's running the video store. And
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
I watched the first one, and I don't know that I ever watched the second one either, honestly. So maybe I just
you might want to watch
the first.
Yeah, you might want to watch the second one just to kind of have some context because it does kind of roll over the events there that kind of play off in here. So, and I honestly feel like the second one is just as funny as the original, in my opinion.
Well, you had some of the same returning people, so yeah.
So in this one, we're kind of picking up from where we last left Dante and Randall, and the plot of the movie is very meta in the sense that Kevin Smith decided to write something that happened to him into the movie, which was that heart attack. So Randall has a heart attack, and then that inspires him to make a movie about his life.
Okay.
And so that kind of becomes the plot or the driving force of the movie, is wanting to write and direct this movie of his life. And when you start to really look at it, it is a very meta thing. It's essentially what Kevin Smith did. He wrote a movie about his life as a convenience store clerk. And granted, the way this kind of goes about it is different, but still, that's the essence of it, is becoming very meta in that way. And it's funny, very, very deep. Like, if you think of Kevin Smith movies, emotional is not what you think. And
not really.
This gets very, very emotional, and probably one of the more dramatic movies he's ever directed. Not to say that it gets super, super dramatic, like there's no laughs, but if there was a moment that I had to pick out of any of his movies that were the most dramatic, it would be from this movie. Hands down. Okay. No contest. And I don't know, it was really surprising because even people who were walking out of the theater, like they were trying to wrap their heads around, what they just. I never heard.
That's a good movie, right?
Yeah, I never heard.
Wanting to talk about it.
I never heard anybody say it was bad. It was just like, wow, okay, like they were just trying to process, how it all kind of unfolded, and the drama behind it. So I was really impressed with it, and I can't wait to watch it again because I felt like I was processing on the way out, and I really didn't know what to say. But it feels like this is the way the story needed to be. This is the way the narrative and the characters and where everyone kind of winds up in the end, how it had to go. It just seemed appropriate. Okay. Appropriate in all the right ways, and even ironic in the sense of where one character was meant to go and where they wound up. And I don't want to say much more than that.
Yeah, no big spoilers.
Yeah. So I recommend it if you like these characters, if you've kind of kept up with them. And I wouldn't say that you really need to know all the other side Kevin Smith movies, like he does. If you're familiar with the first two Clerks,
fine.
But there are those moments here and there where Jay and Silent Bob will say something which references another movie, and you're like, okay, I see what you're talking about.
Like, fans who've watched them all will get extra treats.
Yeah. Like, there was a line in there where they were talking about, where Jay and Silent Bob were being asked about being in the movie, to be characters, be themselves, obviously. And they were trying to, I think they were also kind of roped into helping with shooting the movie. And Silent Bob was supposed to be like the DP, and it was like, here, you'll take care of this, you'll take care of that. And he's like, well, here's what Silent Bob wants to do with the movie. He's thinking about this. And it's like, you guys don't know anything about movies. Like, what the hell are you talking about? We don't know anything about movies. We've been on movie set twice. And I was like, movie set twice. And I was like, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And then I think Reboot might have been Jay and Silent Bob Reboot.
I was going to say, I think I had to, because wasn't that really the only one where they were themselves in a movie being made about themselves?
Yeah.
Because the other movies had their own story,
Yeah.
Like.
So it was trying to remember the little details, but I was like, oh yeah, that one, and then that one.
Yeah.
So, But there was one face, and this is, I don't feel like this is a spoiler, but there's one face that I was really hoping we'd have seen in the movie, because I felt like he's always been kind of a Kevin Smith staple. And granted, I guess he was in Jay and Silent Bob reboot, but still, it was just like, Jason Lee didn't show up, you know?
Really?
Yeah. And granted, I don't know where his character would have shown up, or any of the characters he's been.
He was in Chasing Amy also, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was in Chasing Amy. And he played both of those characters from those movies in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So,
because there was also, Dogma, he was in that too.
Yeah, he was in Dogma.
Yeah. Interesting. Was Ben Affleck in it?
He was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if he's not also, then there's an issue, because I feel like he's also the one that has to show up in some form.
Yeah.
Because he's been in all of them too, right?
Just about, because they had a falling out there for a time, him and Kevin Smith did. And
I didn't know that.
I don't remember what all that was about, and I don't know if he's gone into great detail about what that was about. I think it was, I don't know, maybe a misunderstanding that somebody maybe felt like they were too good for something. I don't know. I don't want to assume.
I mean, I could see that on one of them anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, really? You kind of got started here, but sure. Sure.
But in any case, yeah, no, he was in it. It was kind of a welcome little cameo. It was like he didn't have a big bit. In fact, there were several cameos in there that showed up. There were a few that I wasn't expecting, but in the best ways. It was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I know that
Kevin
person.
Smith universe.
Yeah. So it was just one of those little things you get to. Again, if you watch Clerks 1 and 2, you'll know exactly what's going on. You'll enjoy the hell out of it. I thought it was good. I can't wait to watch it again and really kind of absorb it from a new perspective. You know what I mean?
Excellent. Yeah,
So-
I'll have to get caught up.
Yep. But
here.
yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got to talk about.
All right. Well, then that's our show.
Woo!
I think you can hit us up sometime on Twitter at Super Mega Crash, or go to Instagram to view the weekly icon art Steven puts his time and love into. You can send us an email at supermegacrash@gmail.com. And you can also support the show by liking and leaving reviews on your preferred podcast app, and even going to patreon.com/Pencil and Paper Productions. And you can go to the youtube.com/Pencil and Paper Productions for just more fantastic content for your eyeballs. And we're getting better at Discord. Help make us great. You can join it. Link in the description below. But thank you so much for listening. I am Lacey O'Finley.
And I'm Stephen White.
And you can join us again next time, Super Mega Crash siblings. But until then,
Game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.